It's the Score North Twin Show.
Declan has a pie chart here, a therapeutic pie chart. I have a random twin of the week for you guys on this Friday. But if the twins make you want to punch a hole in your drywall, all you have to do is call KS Drywall to have it fixed. We don't recommend doing damage to your drywall, but if you're looking for full drywall, plaster repair, popcorn ceiling texture removal, interior painting services, KS Drywall services the greater Twin Cities Metro and Western Wisconsin. We've met the guys from KS Drywall, big Minnesota sports fans. They are one of us. The crew is professional, courteous, and clean. And on that popcorn ceiling texture, if Sports Dad looks up in his home studio, he might see some of that.
Oh, yeah.
That old retro vintage texture.
Yep,
we did.
Exactly right.
We looked at a couple houses last weekend, and a couple of them had the popcorn texture. And it was my first thought of, well,
you guys looking again? You looking again? Are you looking again?
Well, we're renting this house, so we were looking at potentially buying a house, and they had the popcorn ceiling. And my first thought was, well, if we did buy this house, I need to call KS Drywall because we need to remove that popcorn ceiling.
And I would recommend for whoever's selling that house to get more value on your home. Maybe they should call KS Drywall, Either way, KS Drywall is able to handle anything from new construction to small emergency repairs. KSDrywall.com to schedule a free estimate. You can also find them on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So, yeah, boy, if we did a Twins vibes check the last couple days, I think people are kind of just out on this team right now.
Crumbling? You think that would be an appropriate word? Twins vibes are crumbling?
Yeah. Well, what are they as we head into the weekend here? Let me pull up the standings. Where's Boston now? What are they? I think they're still like.
They won yesterday. Did they win yesterday?
If they won yesterday,
They lost their last game.
Okay, so they should be 3.5 back.
So they're still the Twins are still 3.5 up on Boston for the final wild card spot, despite losing their asses the last 2 weeks. So with all the losing, Declan has put together, our resident Twins beat podcaster, a pie chart of blame.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
For this cluster bleep stretch of baseball.
Yes, I'll get the NFL Films music here for this because it's still pie chart, so I'll still play that in the background.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Therapeutic. 5 slices of pie I have here, 5 slices, and I teased this with Judd. It just kind of came to me like a bolt of lightning during extra innings after the sweep against the Braves, and I thought, you know what, I should put together a pie chart of blame for what's been going on over the last 2 weeks. I believe 9 and 13, 2 over the last 21, 22 games. So this isn't just like a bad 2 weeks. This is a bad 3 weeks, to be honest, for the Twins.
Yeah.
So 5 pieces of pie. This, and by the way, difficult to portion out. I'll be completely honest. Very difficult to portion out these 5 pieces of pie. But Chef Dex went into the kitchen a few times. Vinny took a couple bites. He said he didn't like this bite, so I had to add this ingredient. So here it is. 5 pieces of pie. We'll start from the bottom. Work our way up. 10% to fundamental baseball decisions. Fundamental baseball decisions. I'm talking about Edward Julian throwing the ball away on a game-winning double play. I'm talking about running through stop signs or just not sending guys at all or not picking up your third base coach. Random little things like a ball dropping off your glove that you should have caught. Fundamental baseball decisions have not gone the Twins' way. And it's a big reason why they find themselves in this hole. But it's just 10%. So 10% to fundamental baseball decisions.
Well, and some of them are decisions. Some of them are just mistakes. There's like a bin of things. And some of them are like maybe some bad luck. But I don't like when Edward Julian just spaces out. And maybe that's a physical mistake. But it's also, dude, dial it in. Game on the line. What are you doing here? This is your chance to... You've done nothing all season. This is your chance to make an impact.
I thought it might be more than 10%, but I think you're going to get to what I thought it might be. I thought that the decisions might be more than 10%, but I think you're going to hit on the person making the decisions. So I think I see what you're doing, Declan.
Yeah. This was...
I think you're being very... This is not a cheap pie chart. This is going to Byerly's and going, full on birthday cake. We're talking $60. We're talking the expensive stuff.
Is that how much a birthday cake costs?
I have no idea, but it sounds right.
I'm going to Google it.
Like a personalized birthday cake? Byerly's?
No, Byerly's made the... That's where we got all of our cakes for our birthdays as kids.
They're
We
fantastic.
live
Byerly's?
right by one.
But
in
I'm
St.
saying
Paul.
if it's personalized and it's upper scale, good stuff, I bet it's at least $60.
Okay, hold on here. I'm on just quick
Price is
side
right.
street because I'm curious now.
What's the price here?
So I'm on. I love me some Lund's Byerly's, but okay. A 7-inch chocolate layer cake is $30.
Sure.
It's 44 ounces. Trying to see if there's anything in that $60 range. Oh, there's a carrot cake for $45.
I love a good carrot
Oh,
cake. I'm not sure about you guys.
Not a carrot cake guy. No.
Really, I love a good carrot cake.
In on carrot cake. In on carrot cake.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Second piece of pie, 15% to the lack of bullpen options. Now, I think a lot of people might have this higher because it's easy. Number one, it's very easy to blame a bullpen when they melt down. Jorge Alcala against Texas. But at the same time, there is not a lot of options here. We're swapping guys in and out daily. I mean, 3 guys in the bullpen trust tree that I ranked just 2 weeks ago, I think are off the team entirely. But the lack of options in the back end of the bullpen, and there's another group of people on this pie chart for those decisions. It's still been an issue. You can't pitch Griffin Jacks every single time. Duran and Cole Sands have been. I know Duran had a bad game against Atlanta, but Duran's still been mostly fine. Cole Sands has emerged as a legit option. The back end options, though, continue to struggle, and it might bite them in the arse in October if they roll with this bullpen. So they deserve a piece of pie, but just 15% of it in this pie chart to blame.
Okay, so the way you phrased it is lack of bullpen options gets 15%. Is this a front office slice of pie, or are you keying in on the relievers who keep giving up crooked numbers here?
In this specific slice of pie, I am talking about the relievers, the Steven Okerts of the world that was DFA'd, the Trevor Richards that was DFA'd, Caleb Thielbar got rocked again. Just the lack of back-end options right now, physically in the bullpen.
So the actual pitchers themselves are being served 15%. Okay, I just want to be clear.
No, it's good clarification.
Okay.
Good clarification.
The Rock
Third piece of
knows how
pie.
you feel about pie.
I see what he's doing. He's very much going in the back door to try to include more. Like this is a destructive pie.
These aren't pie; they're bombs.
Yeah, exactly. This is a pie chart of grenades. Is what we're doing here.
That was a SpongeBob reference for all my SpongeBob fans out there. 20%, third piece of pie. Injuries, 20%. Carlos Correa, we don't know. Byron Buxton, very close, but still been out for a few weeks. Brooks Lee on a rehab assignment, should be back here soon. Joe Ryan, obviously, being out is a buzzkill. But I will say, and just complete admitting to you guys, starting pitching is not on this list. 3 weeks ago, when Joe Ryan went down, we were all very concerned. Who the hell starts Game 3? Who the hell fills out this rotation? This is going to be a problem now for the Twins. That has been the least of it hasn't even, in my opinion, been much of a problem during these 3 weeks. Zebby Matthews, Simeon Woods Richardson, David Festa have all delivered exactly what you would hope for from rookies and inexperienced guys, and probably even with some extra on the side. So I don't have any issue with the starting pitching and the starting rotation as of right now. But the injuries to core players and your superstar players in your lineup, you don't have an optimal lineup out there. It does deserve a chunk of pie. You're without 3 of your best players, so 20% to injuries.
And I think you're safe too, because at some point in time, if the Twins continue on a potential playoff trajectory, Joe Ryan being hurt will hurt them. So I think it's very fair to include him. But yes, like we should be talking about what are they going to do pitching wise still right now, starting pitching wise. And instead we're like, oh, okay, you know what? Starting pitching is not that big a problem right now.
Yeah. On Buxton, so he might be back. Could he be back this weekend, or is it more like an early next week?
I think he'll go on a rehab. I think he'll go to Omaha and rehab with the Saints this weekend is kind of what I get the feeling of.
So, when I turned 16, I drove a 1992 gray Toyota Camry, like a silver Toyota Camry. This would have been in 2001. So this car had 150,000 miles on it already over a decade. Mm-hmm. And sometimes on those back roads of Buffalo, Minnesota, driving to Buffalo High School, you'd open it up a little bit. Speed limit was a suggestion of 55 on those straight back roads. And whenever I would test out the old 1992 Camry, whenever it'd get to like maybe 75 or 80, it would physically start, the wheel would shake.
Yeah.
You could feel the car like stretching to its max.
Yeah.
And is a tire going to pop off? That is Byron Buxton when he hits 90 games played in an MLB season. His body is an old car. Oh, it rides pretty smooth for 150,000 miles. You know, you're driving 35, 40 miles an hour. Once you start opening that thing up, you get to 80 games, 85, 90. It's like his body rejects it. He hit 90 games for only the fourth time in his career.
Yeah.
And it was like, warning light.
It's unfortunate to say because he's so important when he does play, or potentially, but it's like anything above, take your pick, 70 games is gravy. Like it should be celebrated.
Why are there 3 orange warning lights on my dashboard right now?
Yeah, exactly. Why am I stalled on the side of the road when, this car was running so great just a couple months ago? I don't understand.
One time I was driving on one of those roads and literally the car just started smoking. Like the transition just took a dump on a county road at 11 o'clock at night.
I believe it.
You know?
I believe it.
No iPhones, no GPS, nothing. You just
No,
sitting
you know
there.
what you did? Figured it out. Figured it out.
The radio still worked. I sat there and listened to, was it Steve Thompson on WCCO?
Sure.
Who's the late night guy that would just take calls after Twins games for like 2 hours? Not dark.
I think that was Steve Thompson, wasn't it?
Okay.
Or Eric
Even I
Nelson.
remember that as a kid.
Did that sometimes.
Maybe it was Eric Nelson.
Steve Thompson did. Well, and Dark was supposed to be, but he was perpetually on vacation. So
It was Dark's fill-in. Okay, anyways, next pie slice here.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
2 pieces of pie left. 25% to the manager, Rocco Baldelli.
Wow.
25%. It feels like Rocco at first was like, was he flipping the finger to the front office? Because that was my theory with the Jorge Alcala decision and the Stephen Okert decision. And then there's just been some other questionable things that have just snowballed that I am shrugging my shoulders at, being very confused by. I don't feel, and Judd and I talked about this this week, but it feels like Rocco is never 2 to 3 steps ahead. And he sometimes is too reactionary and in the moment. Now, look, I don't envy that decision. I don't envy the person that is in those shoes to make it. And Rocco has said numerous times how much he does also rely on a Jace Tingler to help him stay ahead in a situation, to make a decision that, hey, could be coming up here in a couple of innings. And he obviously defers to Pete Mackey for a lot of the pitching decisions too. But it just feels like Rocco has not played his best cards recently. And you can definitely, I think, put some significant blame on the manager. So Rocco deserves a chunk of pie here. It's 25%.
Yeah, it's always hard to quantify exactly what influence a manager has, but it doesn't feel like he is necessarily the spark that's going to carry the Twins out of this. And maybe it's unfair to expect that a manager would take a team missing some of its best players with really like one and a half current. Well, I would say they have like 2.5 current reliable bullpen options. But yeah.
Well, and also, I mean, it's very fair, I think, to directly pinpoint that horrid Tuesday night loss a week plus ago to the Padres, because he brought in Okert in that game and it completely blew up. And I don't care. You could say, well, but what was I supposed to do? I mean, there were Bailey Ober gave up a home run to Manny bleeping Machado. Like his pitch count was not that high. And last time I checked, Machado hitting a home run off you is not a referendum on, well, now you suck, right? Mm-hmm. And then, I'll go back to the Sunday thing. Julian playing second base. Like Rocco I don't think the Twins as a whole, when they strategize, necessarily think about, I think they think, what if this happens, instead of what is the impact if this happens and we make this move. And Rocco does seem a bit flustered right now too. Mm-hmm. Like Patrick I think he said that with us on Royce Unchained yesterday. Rocco seems a bit like swept up in the storm of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it's like, dude, you can't, these are times you have to be as strong as possible.
Knows how you feel about pie.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to, I fired that on accident, not to cut you off. Yeah, I mean, he does.
Damn it.
I don't think he's a bad manager.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it feels like when you need someone inspirational during a moment of like a month of. That's where like Ron Gardenhire wasn't always the greatest tactical manager,
Right.
But that dude could get a clubhouse to rally together. Okay, boys, we're 15 games back. It's time to light a fire here, right? He had a way of.
Right.
And I don't know if Rocco. It's not that he has connections with players, but I don't know that he has like that level gear that maybe TK had back in the day or Ron Gardenhire.
Oh, no.
It's unquantifiable.
But TK also was a baseball genius, like a savant. Like that dude would
tactically and
he would tactically destroy you. If every game, if TK had a good team, every game that TK went into, he probably, if you did a box to check off managerial advantage, for the most part, TK won that. Rocco, the thing too is like, and I don't know what I think I know what Dex's last piece of pie is going to be, but the thing too about this entire talking point is not only does Correa being out hurt them a lot because he's just so damn good and effective, but that voice, which was clearly important, and I think Dex can confirm this in the clubhouse, like that guy is their de facto captain.
Yeah, well, dude, the one of the biggest plays of the postseason was him like recognizing something, making a call, signaling to Sonny Gray, right?
But if you recall, when they got off to the bad start, I believe they also closed the clubhouse as well, and Correa talked. That carries, I think, a ton of weight because he's got the credibility. So like there is no, if you're hurt, you can't be that voice. It's impossible.
Yeah. Okay.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
30%, if my math is right.
Your St. Cloud State or University of Minnesota and my St. Cloud State math, you are correct, sir. 30% left to the ownership and front office for limiting payroll and making your own bed with the players that are here when you needed reinforcements. I think this collection, when healthy, with Correa and Buxton and Brooks Lee and Royce Lewis, I think it's a pretty good team. But it needed a little extra. Needed a couple extra bullpen arms. You're telling me that you can't offer more than the minimum for Hector Neris? You're in a position where you need bullpen guys so bad, and you literally can't take on $3.5 to $4 million of Drew Smiley's contract, who's on waivers. I mean, the ownership and front office basically laying the groundwork for how limited they were going to be going into last offseason in the free agency period and then at the trade deadline deserves a ton of blame here. I think Falvey did try, but I think the lack of being able to spend and acquire more money from the ownership limited their availability, which is why they could only get Trevor Richards, who lasted 3 weeks here before being DFA'd. So the biggest chunk of pie, although it's no one that's necessarily on the field, I think you can still point at ownership and the front office for being in this situation here. So 30% to them, 25% to Rocco Baldelli, 20% to injuries, 15% of the lack of bullpen depth, and 10% to fundamental baseball decisions.
Let's go back through the history of Derek Falvey at the trade deadline. 8 trade deadlines, I believe, since he took over as the chief baseball officer. 6 different seasons where they were in contention or better at the trade deadline. 2017, they actually sold. So they got Jaime Garcia, 1 start, lost some games that week, then decided, actually, wait, let's sell. And they just, despite selling, and the clubhouse was pissed about that. Brian Dozier went on the record. That team kind of rallied together and still made that wild card game, right, against the Yankees in 17. Yeah. So 17, they sold at the deadline when in contention. 2019, the greatest home run hitting team in the history of Major League Baseball. They added injured Sam Dyson, who pitched 10 games or something, whatever it was, and his back gave out. And Sergio Romo, who was fine, but he was Sergio Romo wound up being your big addition. He was like a 6th or 7th inning reliever to help fortify one of the best offenses in Twins history. 2020, no trades. Well, it was the pandemic. Well, a bunch of other teams made trades. Mm-hmm. So it was not against the rules. 2022, Jorge Lopez, Michael Fulmer, and Tyler Mahle. And then they went in the tank. That's the most aggressive that they were. And Lopez was a disaster. Fulmer was fine. And then Mahle was hurt.
Yeah, more damaged goods.
2023, no trades at the deadline. And then this year, Trevor Richards, as Declan just said, DFA'd 3 weeks after the acquisition.
Yep.
Brutal. It's either he's terrible at managing the trade deadline or philosophically, he doesn't believe in making meaningful big trades, giving up prospects or ownership, taking on money.
Well, and that's the third thing, though, is, and this is on the record from last winter where Joe Polat said we're going to have to cut payroll. So like my question is to what Declan is saying right now. There are guys on waivers. You can pluck them. They're yours. You inherit the contract, but you can take them right now. What frustrates me so much about this particular case is the fact that, okay, you basically cost yourself for sure. Let's say you could have gotten, if you didn't cut payroll, Sonny Gray back. All right. So he's gone. All right. This team gets off to a bad start. And then they come back, play lights out baseball, played really well for a long time. That was an impressive run. And so now they're basically saying, give us some help. Regardless of if Correa and Buxton are hurt, they need help in the bullpen. It wouldn't have hurt to get a starter. And right now, it appears that Falvey is just being told, no, you can't. You know what? You can go get Trevor Richards. The San Diego Padres went and got what? A reliever from the Rays and Marlins. And we saw them both. I'm not even asking the Twins to do that. Just go get one of them, So, like, if this is all, well, we can't take on payroll, we can't. And the funny thing is where this all comes together between on the field and off is this one. So, the complaint with Baldelli, in my opinion, is he sees the short term. Okay, they put in a southpaw, so I got to take out my guy. I got to pinch hit. Well, then, of course, they switch pitchers, and now you're... in this case, ownership is doing the same thing in their own way. How? Well, they've decided we're making less TV, can't do a thing about it. And instead you have a pathetic crowd for the Braves game on Wednesday because, to what Phil, you said at the outset of the show, people are just tuning them out. They just don't care.
Yeah.
So how is that not you're essentially doubling down and saying, well, if we don't make as much on our TV deal, we're just going to say, screw it. PR-wise, that's about as dumb as you can be.
Yeah.
So
and it's now I will say they are still 3.5 games up in playoff position.
Yep.
They're going to get Byron Buxton back. Like right now, they have an 85% chance to make the playoffs according to ESPN.com Baseball Reference. So they are very likely to play in the playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, weird things happen. Texas was tanking a couple, last year. So I want to leave some room in the next month for them to snap out of this thing and go forward, but it doesn't change this pie chart of how we got to this particular point. 10% from Dex, fundamental baseball mistakes, 15% crappy bullpen, 20% injuries, 25% Rocco, 30% front office ownership for not fortifying this thing.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
the frustrating thing is, of all of those pieces of pie, I see only one: injuries as being you can't control that, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So you're like, you can't control that. Everything else you could control. What's frustrating too is you have a team that was good.
We got to go, by the way.
That looks good. And you are not helping it one bit, so you can make the playoffs. But do you give yourself the best chance? No, you don't.
Great. Plenty more time to rant about this as the days
Don't be
go
dumb,
by.
Twins.
We got our Purple Daily Live coming up. For if you're listening to this Twin show, go back and listen to Purple Daily. It'll be more uplifting, I think, than this. Random Twin of the Week before we wrap, presented by Nicol Law. A quick shout out to the exclusive personal injury law firm of the Score North Twin Show. Nicol Law, very supportive of Minnesota sports teams. They ride that roller coaster just like we do. If you've been, or maybe you or a loved one, been in an accident, gets injured, that's where Nicol Law comes in to help you get the compensation you deserve after said accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicol, NicolAlaw.com, or give them a call at 1-855-NICOL. Also, old Macadac found a new dentist a couple weeks ago. Look at this very organic footage of me walking into Park Dental, the downtown location. Yeah, I mean, I was dentistless for the first part of the year here. Came back. Actually, it had been like a year and a half since my last dentist appointment because I didn't have my old guy retired. I was left homeless when it comes to dentistry. For over 50 years, Park Dental has been caring for and cleaning teeth in Minnesota and western Wisconsin. They will treat patients of all ages. And if you're looking for a new dentist, you can Schedule your checkup at parkdental.com. That's parkdental.com.
Baseball.
Okay, I have a random twin of the week for you guys competing head-to-head here. Declan with 3 consecutive wins. Sergio Romo, Burt Blyleven, Josh Willingham. Judd has 15 career wins. Declan 17. I have 20. Because I lost last week, I will throw out a series of clues. You guys can throw out guesses whenever you want. If one of you hits a third strike, the other one wins automatically. No Googling. You can Control F search to see if we've done these players before. Here we go. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
This random twin of the week was a 29th round draft pick. Out of college, by the way.
Wow.
Usually when you're like a 29th round pick out of college, it's going to be tough for you. Not for this guy. In fact, he finished 8th in Rookie of the Year voting. This random twin of the week. His best season as a big leaguer was 3.3 wins above replacement. Pretty good season.
No, it's higher.
This random twin of the week is currently an assistant coach at Mid-America Christian University, MACU. In fact, they put out a press release when they hired him, and I don't have a date on this press release. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's been there for like a year or a long time. Could be several years. I really don't know. But he was quoted in the press release saying, "I look forward to working with these young men and helping them try to fulfill their dreams and also continuing my career in the game that has been so great to me. I'm stoked."
I'm stoked. Okay.
Literally in the quote, he says, I'm stoked! Exclamation point.
Wow.
This will be a pretty big clue. Baseball America once ranked him as the Twins' #1 prospect. From 29th round to #1 prospect in the Twins organization.
Oh boy. Okay.
#1 prospect.
I've done a couple of these.
29th.
I'm stoked.
He played 145 career games with the Twins.
Oh God! Come on! Who is this? 145 games. Did the Rookie of the Year voting come with the Twins?
Yes.
I feel like
His first career MLB matchup was against Kenny Lofton.
One of the greatest jerks in baseball history. Guess he's just a complete jerk. So his first career matchup was against Kenny Lofton. 145 games with the Twins.
Yep. So I told you that his best career season was 3.3 wins above replacement. He also had a 2.8 wins above replacement season. That was his second best season. But his career WAR was 3.2.
Is this Brad Radke?
Oh. That's a good guess, Judd. That's a good guess.
Because that's a Lofton time period.
No, he had a big war season.
So what his? I'm sorry. What was the last clue about his WAR? 2 point.
So I'll give it to you again. So his best wins above replacement season was 3.3. He had a 2.8 WAR season as well, but his career wins above replacement was 3.2.
Oh.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he got to 145 games. There's like 3 to 4 guys that are in my head, and none of them check all these boxes.
This random twin made $14.8 million playing baseball.
It's a good amount of cash. Okay. It's a decent amount of cash.
This random twin played one career playoff game. One career playoff game.
That's not.
Did that game come with the Twins?
It did come with the Twins, and it took place at Yankee Stadium. The new Yankee Stadium.
The new Yankee Stadium. Oh. Dude. Who is this?
145 games. I'm stoked.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, that wouldn't be
In fact, in that game at Yankee Stadium, this random twin went 5 2/3, only allowed one run, and the run was driven in by future Timberwolves owner Alex Rodriguez.
okay.
Let's go through some of the other Rookie of the Year
No.
candidates on that ballot that year. There was another twin that finished higher above him in the Rookie of the Year voting that year. Armando Galarraga, who almost threw a perfect game, should have thrown a perfect game, was above him. But Evan Longoria won the Rookie of the Year in the American League.
Nick
Giovanni
Blackburn.
Soto.
Nick Blackburn.
Oh, Blackie is correct.
nice.
Yes.
I'm back. All right.
4
Nice.
consecutive wins for the Dexter.
Very nice.
Wow, impressive run here.
I did
Blackburn,
not know Nick Blackburn
Willingham.
was 8th in Rookie of the Year voting. I would.
year.
He was awesome for 2 years. He was a
man.
horse for 2 years.
And his,
Funny.
with like a
Got that contract?
like a sub 4 strikeouts per 9, but for whatever reason he could get outs, baby.
Sinker baller, weak contact,
Great
using
beard.
that Metrodome Astro turf or whatever that was, Tech turf.
Pitched the amazing forgotten start in game 163 in 08.
Yep. In fact, he's his 2 best pitching performances in terms of like high profile were 2008 game 163 and then game 2 Yankee Stadium 2009. And he was magnificent in both games. Gave up 2 total runs in both games combined and lost both games.
Oh,
Old Blackie.
Alrighty.
The Dexter.
Very nice. Very nice.
Nice
Well done.
job. All right, Judd, you'll be giving out the clues next week. Declan just 2 wins away from tying this thing up. Random twin of the week. That's your pie chart from Old Dex tweets. Be sure to check out extra innings episodes, and we'll see if the Twins can dust themselves off at the end of this homestand. See you guys.